Trying to avoid paying the extremely high healthcare costs in the United States is one of the core reasons that people travel to other countries for care. It's not the only reason, however. Another reason is the very same reason that many Canadians travel to the US for care: long wait times. In an article for the Fiscal Times, Beth Braverman describes this as well as an additional motive. By the way, what kind of a last name is Braverman? What kind of weirdly insecure caveman would make that his last name? Me, Braverman. Okay, buddy, whatever you say. Quote, in addition to traveling in order to save money, some medical tourists plan trips because they want to have a treatment that's not approved in the United States, or because they'll have a shorter wait by going abroad, end quote. So as we can see, there are several reasons that people leave the US for care, although our expensive healthcare system is the primary reason. Listen to conservatives talk about the issue, and the impression you get is that everybody around the world is pushing and shoving to get into the United States, and the United States alone, to nibble off a piece of our healthcare pie. Just take another look at this right-winger's YouTube comment. Marvel at the stupidity. Quote, if American healthcare is so bad, can someone tell me why people around the world come to America for surgery or long-term treatments when they can afford out-of-pocket costs? End quote. Here is one of the key things that's missing from the right-wing portrayal of this issue. People travel to other countries for medical care as well. When it comes to medical tourism, we can summarize the situation as follows. People from a bunch of different countries are traveling to receive care in a bunch of different countries for a bunch of different reasons. As Wikipedia writes, quote, popular medical travel destinations include Canada, Cuba, Costa Rica, Ecuador, India, Israel, Jordan, Malaysia, Mexico, Singapore, South Korea, Taiwan, Thailand, Turkey, and the United States, end quote. There's a report published every 2 years called the Medical Tourism Index, the full version of which costs $2,500. Jesus Christ, that's more expensive than 2 Band-Aids at a US hospital. Here in this report, they basically weigh several factors and rank different countries around the world in terms of their overall medical tourism standing. According to their 2016 report, the top 5 countries are Canada, the UK, Israel, Singapore, and India. Ask a right-winger to predict which country would be number 1, and they wouldn't even hesitate to say the United States. They'd probably even start awkwardly chanting, USA, USA, and you'd be like, what the fuck, man, this conversation is weird. Not only does the US not crack the top 5, but of the 41 countries around the world considered in these rankings, and of the 9 countries specifically within the Americas considered in these rankings, the US wasn't even a contender. You can also find a variety of articles which feature top 10 medical tourism destination lists. And while articles like this always strike me as a bit clickbaity and not the most rigorous things in the world, we will briefly consider 2 such rankings. One from Medical Tourism magazine provides the following top 10 list: India, Brazil, Malaysia, Thailand, Turkey, Mexico, Costa Rica, Taiwan, South Korea, and Singapore. Another article from nomadcapitalist.com has a very similar list. Number 1 is Malaysia, followed by Singapore, Thailand, India, Turkey, Czech Republic, Costa Rica, Panama, Mexico, and Brazil. Why is the United States not in either of these lists? Clearly because the authors of these articles are communists who hate America. What's that? The author of one of the articles is Andrew Henderson, offshore tax reduction expert? More like Mao Zedong's biggest fanboy. MedicalTourism.com provides the following statistical data which makes absolutely clear that the United States is not unique in having people travel there to receive care. Quote, data from the Council for International Promotion of Costa Rica Medicine shows that in 2012, Costa Rica attracted nearly 50,000 medical tourists, mostly from the US and Canada, and each one spent an average of $7,000. Tourism Research Australia from the Australian government reported that more than 10,000 medical tourism patients flew into the continent in 2013. In 2012, 2,530,000 international patients traveled to Thailand for treatment. The top 5 nationalities were Japan, the US, the UK, GCC, and Australia. The Korea Health Industry Development Institute reported in 2012 that 159,464 patients from 188 countries visited Korea in 2012. 32,503 of those patients were Chinese. A 2012 report from the Taiwan Ministry of Health and Welfare found that more than 60,000 patients traveled to Taiwan for healthcare the previous year, with 50% of patients coming from mainland China, end quote. To focus only on medical travel to the United States is to look at only a tiny snapshot of a much larger picture. Different people in different countries have different reasons for seeking care elsewhere, and to omit these facts from your thinking and analysis is to present us with the most laughably one-dimensional portrayal of a very complex and multifaceted issue. The existence of medical tourism makes clear that no country's healthcare system is perfect in every single area. Sometimes the wait times are too long. Other times healthcare is way too expensive. And sometimes the TV channels in the hospital room are terrible. By the way, that hand job you gave me, worst I've ever had. Sir, that was a sponge bath. Now please leave. Other times, a country's hospitals might not provide a certain type of medical technology. And sometimes, as Horowitz and Rosenzweig point out, the procedure might not even be available in their country, either because it hasn't yet been approved or it's outright illegal. As Donald Trump once said, that's what he said. I was like, how rude. As Donald Trump once said, who knew healthcare could be so complicated? Clearly not the right-wingers who make this argument, that's for sure. From what I can gather, medical tourism usually happens for very narrow reasons. The wait time is too long. The cost is too high. My country doesn't currently offer this procedure. It's usually one very specific aspect of healthcare that motivates medical tourism, so it doesn't make sense to use medical tourism as proof of the overall superiority of that country's system. The most we can say is that it proves that country A does better than country B in one specific area. I'm on Patreon. There's a link in the description if you'd like to support my content. I would really appreciate it. There's also social media links in there if you want to follow me there. I'm trying to build up some of those followings. I would really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe for more videos if you haven't already. Hit the bell, hit the like button, post a fucking comment. All that fun stuff that's standard on YouTube. You know the fucking drill. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this.